Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. This is your host, Preacher Miles, the host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. We are here another Thursday. I decided, brothers and sisters, to change it up a little bit. You know that since we've been on the air, Thursday has always been Throwback Thursday. Well, today I just decided to switch up the model a little bit, and I'm going to tell you why. I decided to switch up the model, move from Throwback Thursday, brothers and sisters, to Give Thanks Thursday. Let me give you my rationale. We cover a lot of topics on this show. In terms of when we were a daily show, we covered a lot of topics. And even now we're on 4 days a week. That's a lot. But I caught myself doing doing one show, and I believe I was on a little bit of a rant, brothers and sisters. And sometimes this happens when you cover things. People say, you're a comedian, you're supposed to be happy all the time. No, we get information, we find the jewels and nuggets, and then we make it presentable as humor and laughter. But this is to say that you can't negate your own human emotions. And what I found, brothers and sisters, I was, going through these things and understandable. I'm a human being just like everybody else, just like you, that sometimes these things can wear on you and it bears you down a little bit. And it affects your perspective of how you see things. And I found, brothers and sisters, that in these soliloquies that we were offering as humor, as information, as education, I found a little bit, brothers and sisters, that it pulled from the balance side of things. And that balance side of things is when you bring things to light and you talk about them, and they may be negative, or they may be controversial, or they may be something that could be hurtful, emotional. I think the thing that I started realizing, brothers and sisters, was the fact that, I wasn't giving thanks. The quotient of gratitude had somehow switched a little bit. And when I say switched a little bit, it means I was a lot less likely to mention that in some regards, whatever happened, the situation could have been worse. And in that space, he said, whatever happened, the situation could have been worse. In that space is the space to give thanks. To say thank you, to say please, to say I appreciate you, even though you don't want it. No, but thank you. And in a space, I like to say the negativity economy, these are the things that do give us value. They do give us meaning. They do give us purpose. And you know what? And they give us inspiration. Case in point, I have a lot of friends who are in the creativity business. I'm a creative. We've said that before. But sometimes when we speak, we move beyond the scope of what we create, and we tend, brothers and sisters, to be judgmental of how people appreciate our art. Whether they laugh at their jokes, whether they appreciate our poem, whether they clap for our spoken word stuff. At some point in time, the truth is we get a little arrogant. And in that arrogance, you move away from the blessings that you have. Now, this is not a comedy cookbar or anything like that. But it's to say, brothers and sisters, that at some point in time, it's important to recognize that the blessings that you have, they're not your own. The things that happen in a certain alignment, in a certain order, linear or non-linear, sometimes it does have a purpose. And sometimes even the blessing that you get is not necessarily for you. You are the blessing next to the blessing, that is actually meant for another person. And in that space, brothers and sisters, I have to say, I was humble. I watched a young lady recently talk about her situation on air. It was a very tragic situation, very sad situation. And as you begin to see the emotion and the anger well up, because she didn't deserve it, she was being made to suffer for no reason at all. She caught my attention, but she said, out of everything going on, she said, thank God I had this. And I had this, and I had this, and I had this, and I had this. And the more she said it, my ego and anger began to shrink a little bit more. Because you understand, brothers and sisters, giving thanks is not just the act of giving thanks. It's a recognition. It is a high quotient of emotional intelligence to give thanks when sometimes, brothers and sisters, you may think there's nothing to give thanks for. That somehow, some way, a blank room or a blank palette, whatever is confronting you, it doesn't have value. And in that space, I found sometimes you got to go behind the palette. behind the painting and realize it's not for you. The world is wide in expanse, but global in opportunity. So we're going to talk about giving back or giving thanks on Give Back or Give Thanks Thursday. This is our first one. I hope you appreciate it. We're going to get the show started. Let me start out by saying thank you, Sister Zatanna. Let's get the show started. SOS. All right, and we're back. So as I talk and kind of fill in the blanks on this particular segment, I'm going to ask everybody to get your give thanks situation, get your give thanks comments that you want to get them in the comment section, because we do want to get them off. We want to get them on the air. This is why I'm going to tell you why, because other people will see your comments. And we hope that other people see your comments and they will take them to heart and go, you know what? I have the opportunity to give thanks for some of the things that are around me. Sometimes it's just acknowledgement, brothers and sisters. And I have some few things I want to acknowledge. I'm going to go out of order here. I hope you don't mind. We got a happy anniversary for my brother, JT, better known as Johnny L. Thomas. They've been married 162 years. They escaped off the plantation together, and they've been together ever since. Harriet Tubman married him. And I hope Yolanda didn't see that. Hey, sis, love you. Congratulations. Thank you so much for taking care of my brother. My brother, thank you so much for taking care of my sister, producing two wonderful young men and helping that ecosystem of love, devotion, and I'd say Black love. Keep on checking on down the road of prosperity and happiness. I'm proud of you, little brother. You know, you're a model to me. And I talk about you often on the show. Probably not enough, but I know I say it every time I see you. I say I love you, and I'll have to say I thank you for so many things. A lot of people don't know, you know, you enjoy the All Made Me Funnies and things like that, but there was a time where the Preacher Man wasn't doing so good. I've been fired off a major tour, and my brother, he had his own family, had his own child, a young child, and he opened up his home to me. He opened up his basement to me, and he allowed me to sit down there and come up with ideas and be creative and not worried about the rent, not worry about the food. And you guys don't know, you know, when you're a comic, you don't have any money or food. When somebody calls you from the basement and go, food is ready, that was Sister Yolanda, and I appreciate you. May Allah continue to award you in this life and the next. Okay, happy anniversary. Next up, we got Sister Ree. Reed, what's going on now? Now, Reed feeds a brother, make sure he's doing okay. But, you know, more than feed a brother, you know, Reed's always been around just to make sure I'm okay. You know, and I understand, Reed, that you give me food because you want to make sure I'm all right and your brother's doing well. But I know you and my mom be conspiring on stuff. And I want to just say I appreciate it because, you know, with this pandemic, I want everybody to know with this pandemic, when somebody shares food with you, I'm going to say this. When somebody shares food with you, this is not, I'm just sharing food with you. This is God's work. So I appreciate you, Brother Derek, for bringing over the house, Brother Jawan. You know, I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. Next up. Well, my brother, I already spouted on about you, but I'm gonna say that because you see this, Sister Zatanna, he actually put you in the mix. He put you in the mix. He said, Assalamu alaikum, preacher and Zatanna. He asked me about that. There you go. You have moved into the upper echelon of Johnny L. Thomas acknowledgement. I appreciate you. Peace and love. All right. Next up, we got happy anniversary. All right. Next up, who we got? We got Sister Ika. Sister Ika bringing all that love and positivity and good spirit all the way from Depok, Indonesia. We appreciate you. Now, brothers and sisters, you've been going through a thing with one of her family members who fell a little ill. We're going to make sure that we take all the positive du'as and send them to Depok. We don't need a plane. We don't need a train. We don't need a boat. Just put your hands together and give it to her. That's what we need. That's what we're talking about right here, right now. Okay, next up. My main man Altaf Rashid. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something. Altaf tunes into the show, and I call him. I call him. It's 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down. He's always on time. But let me tell you something. He could be anywhere, brothers and sisters. I went back, Altaf. I went back to some of the early shows. You know what I found? I found you on the early shows. I did. I found you on the early shows, always on 6 o'clock, always with a hearty salam. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Man, may Allah bless you. Like, think about this. We had 414 shows before we went on hiatus. At least 514 shows, at least 513 shows. You were on there giving salam. So, brother, may Allah bless you and continue to bless you and your family. We appreciate you. Next up, we got Sister Naomi Griffin all the way from Detroit, Michigan. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister. Appreciate you, your humor, your goodwill, and peace and blessings to you and your family. Definitely du'as for your pop. Hope he's doing well. And continue to be a part of the show. You are officially part of the Shout Out Show family. That goes without saying. I tell folks this is the way it works. So thank you so much. Next up, Brother Salahuddin. This is my main man, Bilal Salahuddin. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you. You've been on the show a couple times now, so let's just give it to you, man. We're going to give you your flowers now. Forget about you just poking your head in, brother. We expect to see you, and we expect to know about what's going on with you and going on with you and your family. If we need to make dua for you, this is your home, brother. So the Shout Out Show is your home. You are officially part of the Shout Out Show family. And let me say this. Thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of your life. Just that little bit of 30 minutes, man, means a lot to all of us. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Salams to you. Eric, I want to say, I try to say Eric, but I'm from the East Coast, so sometimes it comes out Eric. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother Eric Carter. Appreciate you, man. You know you're part of the family too. So whatever we could do for you, du'as, anything like that. If I got to get out on my knees for tahajjud and give it to you, I will make sure, brother, all of y'all that, you know, I pray that you're in the best of spirits. That is best of spirits, emotionally, physically, financially, and of course mentally. So you guys got it. Eric, thanks for coming on the show. Salams to you. So look at Sister Reed. Happy anniversary. You ain't got no gift. No, I'm just kidding. It is love. It is love. When I say this is my sister, that's my sister. That's my mom. Thank you so much for coming on the show. What we got next? Okay, and we got the Chief Rocker. We got Sister Satana Whitfield working the back. But y'all don't know what this means. Like, I can do all this stuff, but I couldn't do it by myself. You know, everybody says they got their ride or die, they got their partner. This is Sister Satana, always there from day one for the show, but even before the show. I think Sister Satana and I started talking in Philadelphia at the Black Psychology thing, and we were looking at stuff and how it's going together. And we weren't complaining, but we had some observations about how things were put together. And so we tried to creatively make some. Sister Satana is very diplomatic. Sometimes I'm not like I'm like my Uncle Earl. Sometimes I don't have the filter. You know, like a guy said, "Hey, I'm starving, ain't got nothing to eat." My uncle will say, "I'm glad I ain't you." Sometimes that happens to me, brothers and sisters. But Sister Satana has helped smooth out those edges. That's why the show is what it is today, making sure that we're on time. We deliver, inshallah, quality product. So when you come, brothers and sisters, we didn't waste your time. So big shout out to Sister Satana. Thank you so much. So let me tell you guys about Give Thanks Thursday. There's a good friend of mine in Philadelphia. His name is Brother Zachariah. And he works for Nicetown Community Development Center. And he's up in Philly. He's a good guy. And he has this thing that he does with his wife, Sister Majida. His name is Abdul Rahman. I'm sorry, Zachariah Abdul Rahman. If you're ever in Philly, just throw his name out. Everybody knows him. He has this event that he does called the Give Back. Now, let me tell you about the Give Back. They bring in all these entertainers and things like that and food, and they have what they call a give back to the community. You know, they give away food and supplies, and it's a big community event. The gist of the give back is sadly he lost his son. One of his sons was murdered. And I wasn't, I didn't know him at the time. And this is in getting to know him. He lost his son. And the way he honored his son was to celebrate the community that he actually lost his son in. That he found a way to kind of turn this thing around. And he said, when I talked to him, he said, you don't know the power of being able to have a son for 17 to 18 to 19 years. He said, even though he's called home, he said, I can't sit here and go that this is a negative thing in terms of my relationship with the son. He said, yeah, we all have to go. Did he want his son to stay longer? Absolutely. But the wellspring of gratitude, the wellspring of giving thanks was so strong that he found a way to empower his community. Through his tragedy, empower his community. And when I say that, brothers and sisters, it's a model. It's a 100% model. And if we can somehow, in a very cohesive way, understand that we don't have to experience heavy loss to be awoke. I don't think this was the case for him, but just marginally being aware that in the world, if you have $1, there's some place where somebody probably needs $10. Even if you gave them your dollar, they would still need $9 more. And that shouldn't stop you from giving them that dollar. It shouldn't stop you from praying for them. My big brother, Reginald Kitchen, man, I'll be pleased with him. I was just talking earlier about him. I said, one of the things was when we worked social services, we would put on programs, and a week before the program, I realized that there was no money for the program. There was literally no money for the program. And what we would do is go to people's houses to pick up checks. And even later in life, when he had his basketball camp, he would have a lot of kids at his basketball camp. And the numbers never matched up. I'm talking about the money that should have been paid according to the amount of kids that were there. And he stopped me one time. He said, well, this is my way of giving thanks. He said, do we need all the money to keep this thing going? He goes, no. And he worked on margins, brothers and sisters. And I'm trying to get to a point here because I'm saying, don't be afraid to deal with margins when you're giving thanks. This is not a commodity, if you will. This is not a tradable. This is not an EFT. This is not a Bitcoin, if you will. This is a thing whereby you inspire other people. I'm happy to say that while I'm here, I stand on not the shoulders of other people, but just the goodwill of other people. The folks that said yes when they could have said no. The people who said more instead of said none. When you begin to get that, brothers and sisters, that whole give back thing is valuable. One of my favorite songs, brothers and sisters, and I've said this, one of my new favorite songs is Kirk Franklin, Love Theory. And I've said this before. And I just love the beginning part of it because it sums up a lot of how I feel. The first line is, how could it be that you could love someone as unlovable as me? Now, of course, this is a religious reference. But is it? Is it that divine nature that we can find in our brothers and sisters that we have to be reminded is in our mothers and fathers and our grandparents and the people that raise us up, that they can love some of the most unlovable parts of us because they believe that part is not bigger than the part that they love? Think about it, brothers and sisters. My other favorite song, and I played it to death during the dark times of COVID. I have to frame out COVID. There was COVID, and then there was the dark times of COVID. One of my favorite songs is a song by Donnie McClurkin. The song is We Fall Down. And you know the frame, we fall down, but we get up. And he said, because the saying is just a savior who fell down and didn't stay down, they got up. But where's that space about getting up? About intestinal fortitude, brothers and sisters. Like, let me tell you something. as a comedians can be very selfish, very sensitive. I'm going to put this out here, brothers. In the right space, comedians are the biggest cowards in the world. I'm saying this as a comic. We're the biggest cowards in the world because we can put words out into an atmosphere and we can wrap them around the idea that it's supposed to be a joke, that it's supposed to be ha-ha. And if you don't laugh, the problem is with you. So in some regards, we remove ourselves from intentionality. Everybody can't do that. There are people who have to speak truth to power from their heart to the people who are around them. You know, even when bad things happen, sometimes I'm like, alhamdulillah, I give thanks because you know what? You showed me who you are. You showed me what you were trying to do, or it was revealed to me, and that allows me to protect myself. Or better yet, protect other people, protect projects, or protect communities. You know, as people of faith, and I even find this, even people who are not folks who practice faith, they still understand the idea of giving thanks. That ownership, brothers and sisters, ownership of a decision to help one another, ownership of a decision to sit down with one another. I mean, I'm 54 years old. Some of y'all have been through this. When you get to a place, you go home, you got to go sit with somebody. You got to go sit with an elder for 2-3 hours, and they're old. They're older than you. Maybe they don't move as great, but you sit there and you serve them. You know why? Because that's what you're supposed to do. This is a modality of reason, brothers and sisters, because that person was there for you even when you didn't know so. My mother had a friend. She was an older woman. My mother went to Howard University, and her name was Miss Miller, Viola Miller. I know that. I think I got the right one. And I got the opportunity to meet Miss Viola. I might even be getting it wrong, but I'm just saying I got to meet this woman as a young, cognizant adult. And, you know, I felt so happy around her as a child because the love she gave to me, I was like, my mom got that love all the way through college. You know, my mom's situation, she grew up, it was kind of difficult, but she managed to get to Howard University as well as my aunt, who's the owner of BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. But my point, brothers and sisters, that I have to throw out is the fact that how great can it be that you can feel gratitude from your mother to somebody and say, ooh, I just want some of that. I just want to give it back to you because you gave it to my mom. And in creating, brothers and sisters, these ecosystems, we become better people. We got some comments, Satana? Satana might want to jump on today. What we got? I'm thankful for life, health, and strength. Okay. I guess you feeling better too. I'm stay out the casino. Hold on a minute, brother, sister. I have to do this because my eyes aren't that great. I met you in Houston a few years ago when they were lecturing about Islamic Party in D.C. back in the 70s. I met you doing the funny tour back in Chicago years ago. Man, if this brother met me in Chicago, he is telling you the gospel truth. We did a lot of work in Chicago, in Houston as well. Blah, I appreciate you, man. I think maybe we need to get off the air and just catch up a little bit. If you're down, I'm down. You got to connect with people, man. You got to stay connected. Thank you, Bilal. I appreciate that. Inshallah, the times I met you, I was a good dude and I was respectful towards you and I wasn't a jerk because I have my days. Sister Satana, don't be agreeing with that.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Preacher and to everyone, how are you doing?
Yes, welcome to the show. Thank you, Sister Satana.
Yeah, for
I don't know
sure.
people. You know, I tell people about the Shout Out show, and they're like, well, when's it been on? I said, we did 514 shows. Oh, my gosh. I go consecutive. They do the first half. Like, oh, my God. And I tell people that. And I tell people all the time, I say, no, but don't think I got up here on my own. You know, I tell folks all the time. I try to introduce, when I introduce shows, like I can't do it without Sister Satana. I can't do it without the people that come on the show. You know, this show has driven a lot of good vibes. You talk about a relatively short amount of time. It's driven a lot of good vibes. it's fun when you get somebody from overseas, from Germany, from the UK, or Norway, the Norway guy we had. And I think the thing is, we're trying to do this work. I take it. I don't know how you take it, but I do take it as a light lift of what we had in terms of prophetic tradition, what we had in terms of our Black leaders who in the early startups, these guys were getting their cars and their briefcase and their bags, and they would just go take the word out to people. For the Shout Out Show, we can do it electronically, we do it digitally, we can put up graphics, but this is the easy part of it. This is not the heavy lifting of what they did in the 60s and 50s. So yeah, this is easy to do, but I learned it from these pioneers. My mentor is Dick Gregory, and man, when I used to listen to not just what he did as a comedian, but what he did as an activist and what he put out, and I'm sure what he told me was only a fraction of what he actually did, because he's a very humble dude. We live a life that's bound upon successfully acknowledging that we gotta thank people. You gotta say, I appreciate you.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's what the good book and replace the good book with your religious text, right? It says that, right? You have to give thanks not only to the one who created you, right? And so, but also to his creations, right? And so and you do that every day. You give thanks every day. But and it's interesting, even you have to give thanks to even things that have been challenging, right? So COVID has been challenging. However, this platform kind of came out of that, right? Because although the concept was there, the Shout Out Show was there for many years, this platform came about, and it was it was like it could only be done during this time, right? So yeah,
I was trying to.
30 days.
To somebody and you're just too excited. It's like a bad telegraph machine. And I was like, you know what? This is a game changer.
Yeah. It was like, 30 days. 30 days. We can go.
We started out, believe it or not, brothers, we started out 30 days of Ramadan 2020. This was supposed to be 30 days.
Right.
It was going to be Preacher Moss, Ramadan, 30 Ramadan. That's what it is. Yeah. I think you were like at 29 days, like, what are we going to do? I was like, I don't know. So we said, well, let's just keep going.
Yeah.
Platform was there. So just keep going. It's like we would keep going. It's like I was trying to explain to somebody who does social media stuff. I was like, we have dedicated people. He's like, oh, you got 100, 200. So, no, I don't have that. I just have people who come on the show, and I tried to explain to them. I said, people bring characteristics and personality into a show.
Yeah. And it's interesting.
Yeah, people bring personality and characteristics to a show. I run in the morning. Inshallah, I try to run. It's funny because my dad calls in the morning, like early, and I find with my dad when he starts talking, you got to be sharp. This is not mindful, for sure. Like mindless conversation. He's talking current events. He's talking this. He's talking religion. I'm like, you know what? This is cool, and it's funny to get called on the carpet by your mom and your dad and your aunt when you don't send them a link. You've been there on the call. Like, what's the link?
A daily link.
My dad. Send it. And you have to send the link.
Your mom is on. Wait.
Because you got that accountability. It's like, and don't mess around and they don't get a link.
Yeah, we had a few comments here. Let's take a look at it. So Sister Naima Griffin says, we even have to get used to saying thank you to our children. How can we expect for them to be humble when we don't show them what it looks like? Yeah, great point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
then you have to be able to humble yourself too.
For sure.
For sure.
Humbling yourself to your children. Yeah, to say I'm wrong to your children. And thank you.
I've gotten way better at the youth around me. I can go, you know what? I made a mistake. Or this is where I got better. I go, you know what? It worked out, but I can acknowledge it could have been done better. Like that's my personal growth, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I take better criticism. I can listen to my mom's. My mom always has ideas about the show.
Well, let's hear a comment from your mom. She says it's great when we give Rialto to use thanks versus doing for another because they first gave thanks. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we grew up in that space.
Yeah.
You've heard me talk about my family, and hey, the Moss family, Beth family's like, yo, this is not. We didn't come from means. We didn't come from means, but it came from hard work. And I think hard work humbles you in a way. It's like you can have compassion for folks who are not doing well. When I say not doing well, not necessarily money or social status, but mentally, people can be in a space, spiritually, people can be in a space
Hmm.
where they're not
Hmm.
competitive or where they want to be. And sometimes being around other people, it creates an even deeper conundrum because I feel like I have to compare. You never want to compare your spirituality with other people, but people go through things. And when it gets diluted, if you will, or a little off track, you begin to look at people around you, situations around you, and that becomes your barometer. Not that you go to seek that relief or those solutions to prayer or dua. That's all I'm saying. Who else we got?
Gotcha. So I think that's all we have in the comments. I know we're coming almost at time, but just wanted to remind everyone that we go live from Monday to Thursday. So that means
Indeed.
we are off tomorrow through Sunday and back again on Monday. But also just to remind you, and you see that big picture of Preacher behind you, he is actually
We are in Vegas.
he is in
The Islamic
Vegas.
Information
He's in
Center in
Vegas.
Vegas
In
on Russell
Vegas.
Road.
So I'm
It is the first kickoff, brothers and sisters, of a project I've been kicking around. Of course, it came to me during COVID, but we couldn't get out due to COVID. Big shout out for the Muslim Ummah in Las Vegas. I'm looking for a great time. I haven't been to Vegas in at least, I don't know, 9 years. And I'm just looking to go out and meet the people, see people, and give them a great show. This Preacher Mosque comedy tour is really about gratitude. We're going to celebrate the relevance, the beauty, the importance, and just the historical narrative of mosque and masjids here in the United States, and we're going to do it with a smile on the face with the comedy tour.
yeah. That's great. So yeah, big ups and give thanks to them as well, right?
Absolutely.
So but you have to register for tickets. Seats are limited. So go to www.iiclasvegas.org /preacher dash mosque MOSSQUE for tickets and take a bow. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. I am signing off.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and finish up the rest of that. We're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. I want to give a shout out to www.befinanciallyindependent.com. Again, that's befinanciallyindependent.com. You can go to the website or you can call 888-496-6845. Again, that's 888-496-6845. If you're interested in a quality graduate doctoral level education, Islamic education, brothers and sisters, you got to check out Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Again, that's Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Programs Islamic Studies, Islamic Leadership, Islamic Education. They have one of the premier programs, brothers and sisters, dealing with, of course, the Muslim chaplaincy piece. We don't have enough qualified Muslim chaplains, and we're trying to do that. And they have a program that has been running. It has been amazing. You got to check it out. Go to banonline.org. Again, that's banonline.org. Okay. Again, I want to give a shout out to IIC in Vegas. Thank you, Brother Ataf. Safe travels. And I'll tell you guys how the show turned out on Monday. Peace to you, brother, in Toronto. And I want to give a shout out to JT and Yolanda celebrating the 178th year of matrimony. They've been married 192 years, brothers and sisters. They were here before the English, and they were married. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Okay, I'm messing out. And before I close out, thank you. Shout out ShOUT family, shout out ShOUT nation, shout out ShOUT soldiers. Thank you, and we'll see you on Monday. Rest up. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm out. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, team, we've come to the end of yet another show. And I have to say, I had a good time, and I hope that you had a good time as well. Listen, at this part of the show, we have no more show. I could literally sing a song saying we have no more show. However, to spare all of us that embarrassment and chaos, I'm just going to say, please join us tomorrow here on the Shout Out Show, Monday through Thursdays, and every first Saturday, we do our Saturday Spotlight. Here we are again, 5 to 5:30 on the Central Time. And of course, we're going to do our rebroadcast at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock p.m. And of course, that would be 6 o'clock on the West Coast. So, time for you to go because it's time for me to go. I think I will do that song. Thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for coming to the show. That's all the lyrics I wrote. But you get the idea. See you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum. Shout out.